Good evening, my friends. Let me ask you a question. What do you do when life wakes you up? When it shakes you in the middle of the night and you're staring at the ceiling, wide-eyed, heart racing, mind spinning? Now, most people, they roll over, they groan, they bury their heads under the pillow waiting for sleep to come back. But not you. No, not you. Wake up in the stillness of the night. That's not just a coincidence. That's a call. Breathing is something we all do, every moment of every day. It is the most natural, automatic function of the human body. And yet, how often do we actually think about it? How often do we pause to really understand the power that lies within a single breath? When you wake up in the middle of the night, startled, restless, or maybe without even knowing why, the very first thing you must do is breathe deeply. Not just any breath, but a deep, intentional breath that reconnects you to the present moment and resets your spirit. Imagine that moment of waking. Your heart might be racing, your mind might be full of scattered thoughts, tumbling over one another. The worries of the day before, the anxieties of tomorrow, they all seem to rush in at once. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to feel lost in the swirl of everything that feels beyond your control. That's why the breath is so powerful, it anchors you. It's your lifeline. Take that first deep inhale through your nose, slow and steady. Fill your lungs completely, feeling your chest rise and your diaphragm expand. Hold it for a moment, just long enough to feel the fullness of it. Then exhale slowly through your mouth as if you're letting go of everything that doesn't serve you. That exhale, it's not just air leaving your body. It's tension. It's fear. It's the clutter of your mind making way for clarity. In that moment, you're doing more than breathing, you're reconnecting. Reconnecting with yourself, with the present, and with the energy that sustains you. Breathing isn't just a physical act, it's a bridge between the body and the mind, between the conscious and the subconscious. When you breathe deeply, you signal to your brain that it's okay to let go, to relax. The nervous system calms, the heart rate slows, and the storm inside you begins to settle. But this isn't just about relaxation, it's about renewal. Think of your breath as a cycle, a rhythm that mirrors life itself. Every inhale is a new beginning, a chance to draw in fresh energy, fresh potential. Every exhale is a release, a way to let go of what's no longer needed. When you wake up in the middle of the night, your breath reminds you that no matter what's happened before or what's coming next, you have this moment, this inhale, this exhale. The beauty of deep breathing is that it's always with you. It doesn't require special tools. It doesn't depend on your circumstances. Whether you're lying in bed, sitting on the edge of the mattress, or standing by the window looking out into the darkness, you can breathe. And in doing so, you can create a sense of calm and control even in the midst of chaos. Breathing deeply also creates space in your body and your mind and your spirit. When the mind is racing, it can feel crowded, like there's no room to think clearly or feel at peace. But with each deep breath, you create a pause, a gap where clarity can enter. You start to feel that there's room for stillness, for reflection. That space is where your power lies. When you wake up in the night, your breathing can also become a kind of meditation. Focus on the rhythm of it, the way the air feels as it moves in and out. Notice the temperature of the inhale, the slight coolness, and the warmth of the exhale. Feel the subtle movements of your body in expansion and contraction. By concentrating on your breath, you bring your attention away from the distractions of your thoughts and into the sensations of the present. This focus isn't just calming, it's grounding. It reminds you that no matter where your mind tries to go, your body is right here in this moment. This practice of intentional breathing is a tool you can carry into any situation. Whether you're facing stress at work, conflict in relationships, or the uncertainties of life, your breath is your ally. It's a source of strength that doesn't depend on external factors. It's always with you, always accessible, always ready to guide you back to your center. There's also something deeply spiritual about the breath. Across cultures and traditions, the breath has been seen as more than just a physical necessity. It's been viewed as life force, as spirit itself. The word inspiration comes from the Latin inspirare, meaning to breathe into. When you take a deep breath, you're not just filling your lungs, you're inviting in energy, possibility, and life itself. In the stillness of the night, when you wake up and take that first deep breath, you're reminding yourself of this truth. You're connecting with something greater, something infinite. That breath is a moment of communion, a moment of being fully alive. It's a reminder that even in the quiet, even in the darkness, there is movement, there is vitality, there is you. Breathing deeply is also a way to take control. When you wake up unexpectedly, it can feel like life is happening to you, like you're at the mercy of forces beyond your understanding. But when you take a deep breath, you're reclaiming your agency. You're saying, I am here. I am present. I am in charge of this moment. And with that control comes freedom. Free to choose how you respond, freedom to let go of what doesn't serve you, freedom to simply be. Each breath is an act of self-care, a way of saying to yourself, I matter. My peace matters. My well-being matters. Breathing deeply also has a profound impact on your body. It oxygenates your blood, energizes your cells, and even improves your brain function. It's a way of nourishing yourself from the inside out, of giving your body the tools it needs to function at its best. And when your body feels cared for, your mind and spirit follow. This simple act of breathing deeply, of being mindful of each inhale and exhale, is a practice you can cultivate not just in the night, but throughout your life. It's a way of grounding yourself in moments of uncertainty, of finding calm in moments of chaos, of reconnecting with your essence when the world feels overwhelming. There's a reason why breath is often the starting point for so many practices of mindfulness, meditation, and healing. It's because it works. It's because it's universal. It's because it reminds us in the most direct and immediate way of what it means to be alive. When you breathe deeply, you're not just calming your nerves or clearing your mind. You're affirming your presence, your resilience, your ability to face whatever comes next. You're tapping into a source of strength that is always within you, waiting to be awakened. And so, in the quiet hours of the night, when you find yourself awake and unsure, remember this is your anchor, your refuge, your guide. It's a simple act, but one that holds infinite power. Listening to silence is an art, a skill often lost in the constant noise of modern life. When you wake in the stillness of the night, there's a profound opportunity to embrace what most people overlook, the power of quiet. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, it's a canvas, a space where truths emerge, where clarity is born, and where your inner voice finally has a chance to be heard. The world we live in thrives on noise. From the moment we wake to the time we rest, we are surrounded by chatter, notifications, distractions, and demands. Even in our moments of solitude, we fill the space with music, podcasts, or television. Noise has become a companion, a way to avoid facing the vastness of silence. But when you wake in the dead of night, the world is still. The distractions are gone, and you are left with silence. This is your moment to listen. Listening to silence requires patience. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, even unsettling. You might find yourself wanting to reach for your phone, turn on the light, or do anything to fill the quiet. But if you resist that urge, if you allow yourself to sit in the stillness, something extraordinary begins to happen. The external noise fades, and you start to hear what's inside. Your inner voice speaks softly. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, it whispers. In the daytime, that voice is drowned out by the noise of obligations, expectations, and distractions. But at night, in the silence, it can finally rise to the surface. This voice might bring you insights, remind you of forgotten dreams, or guide you toward decisions you've been avoiding. It might challenge you, inspire you, or simply keep you company. But to hear it, you must be willing to listen. Silence also has a way of amplifying your thoughts. When you wake in the middle of the night, your mind might be racing, your thoughts tumbling over one another. At first, this can feel overwhelming, but if you listen closely, you'll notice patterns. You'll begin to understand what's truly on your mind, what's been weighing on your heart. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting your innermost concerns, desires, and fears. This reflection is a gift. In the business of life, we rarely take the time to truly examine our thoughts. But in the stillness of the night, there's no escaping them. This is your chance to face what you've been avoiding, to acknowledge what's been buried, and to make peace with what's been unresolved. Silence doesn't judge, it simply holds space for you to explore, to understand, and to grow. There's also a spiritual element to listening to silence. In many traditions, silence is considered sacred. It's in the quiet moments that we feel connected to something greater, whether that's the universe, nature, or a higher power. When you listen to silence, you may find a sense of peace that transcends words, a calm that comes not from solving problems, but simply from being present. Silence also teaches you to be comfortable with yourself. In the noise of the world, it's easy to lose yourself, to define yourself by external factors, your job, your relationships, your possessions. But in silence, all of that falls away. You are left with just you. This can be challenging at first, but it's also liberating. In silence, you realize that you are enough just as you are. As you listen, you may notice the subtle sounds within the silence. The faint hum of the refrigerator, the rustle of leaves outside, the soft rhythm of your own breathing. These sounds, often overlooked, remind you of the world's interconnectedness, of the delicate balance that sustains life. Even in silence, there is movement, there is energy, there is life. Listening to silence also sharpens your awareness. It heightens your senses, making you more attuned to the present moment. In the quiet, you notice things you might otherwise miss: the texture of the sheets, the coolness of the air, the way your body feels as it rests. This heightened awareness doesn't just stay with you in the night. It carries over into your daily life, making you more present, more mindful, more alive. Silence is also a space for creativity. When the noise fades away, your mind is free to wander, to dream, to imagine. Ideas that seemed elusive during the day may suddenly come to you in the quiet of the night. Solutions to problems, inspiration for projects, or even a deeper understanding of yourself. All of this can emerge when you give yourself the gift of silence. Listening to silence is not about achieving something or reaching a specific goal. It's about being open, receptive, and curious. It's about allowing the silence to speak to you, to show you what you need to see, to guide you where you need to go. This requires trust, a willingness to let go of control and simply be. The beauty of silence is that it's always there, waiting for you. Even in the busiest moments, even in the noisiest environments, there is silence within you. When you wake in the middle of the night, it's not an interruption, it's an invitation. An invitation to pause, to listen, and to reconnect with yourself. This connection is powerful. In the silence, you remember who you are beyond the roles you play and the expectations you carry. You remember what truly matters to you, what brings you joy, what gives your life meaning. This remembrance is not always easy, but it's essential. Listening to silence is also a way of practicing gratitude. In the quiet, you become more aware of the small, beautiful moments that make up your life: the warmth of the blanket, the softness of the pillow, the stillness of the night. These moments, often taken for granted, are gifts. In listening to silence, you cultivate an appreciation for these gifts, for the simplicity and richness of the present moment. Silence is not empty, it's full of potential. It's a space where transformation begins, where healing happens, where new possibilities arise. When you listen to silence, you're not just sitting passively, you're engaging with life in its purest form. You're opening yourself to the mystery, the wonder, the beauty of existence. This act of listening is a practice, one that deepens over time. The more you listen, the more you discover, the more you grow. It's not about finding answers or solving problems, it's about being present, being open, being alive. Listening to silence is an act of courage. It's a way of stepping away from the distractions, the noise and the chaos, and stepping into yourself. It's a way of honoring your inner voice, of giving yourself the time and space to simply be. And in that being, you find clarity, peace, and strength. Clarity is a rare gift, something that many people spend their entire lives chasing without ever truly finding. It's not something you can buy, borrow, or beg for. It's not found in the chaos of the day or the rush of life's endless demands. Clarity arrives in the quiet moments, in the pauses, in the spaces where distractions fade and truth steps forward. When you wake up in the middle of the night with the world around you silent and still, you have a unique opportunity to discover clarity. In those hours, the usual noise that clouds your mind is gone. There are no emails, no calls, no urgent tasks pulling at you. The demands of the day have subsided, and what remains is just you and your thoughts. At first, this can feel daunting. The mind, left to its own devices, often gravitates toward worry, overthinking, or replaying the events of the day. But beneath that initial wave of scattered thoughts lies the potential for something profound: understanding. Clarity isn't about having all the answers. It's about seeing things as they are. It's about stripping away the layers of confusion, distraction, and fear that obscure your vision. In the stillness of the night, your mind has a chance to slow down. And as it does, you begin to notice things you may have overlooked during the day. A thought that seemed unimportant earlier might take on new significance. A problem that felt insurmountable might suddenly seem smaller. more manageable. This shift in perspective is the beginning of clarity. It's not forced or hurried. It arises naturally when you give yourself the space to let it emerge. Sometimes clarity comes as a gentle realization, a quiet knowing that settles into your mind like a calm breeze. Other times it arrives with force, like a lightning strike that illuminates everything at once. Either way, it's a moment of connection, a moment when you see, feel, and understand more deeply than before. Clarity often begins with a question. When you wake up in the middle of the night, your mind might instinctively ask, why am I awake? What is this moment trying to tell me? These questions aren't random. They're an invitation to explore, to reflect, to dig deeper into the parts of yourself that you might not have time to examine during the day. Reflection is key to clarity. It's not about dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. It's about understanding your present. When you reflect in the stillness of the night, you have the chance to connect with what truly matters. You might find yourself thinking about your goals, your relationships, your purpose. You might notice patterns in your thoughts, emotions, or behaviors that you hadn't recognized before. This process of reflection can be uncomfortable at times. Clarity often requires confronting truths you'd rather avoid, acknowledging feelings you've pushed aside, or facing decisions you've been putting off. But in doing so, you create the opportunity for growth. Clarity isn't just about seeing clearly, it's about understanding what you see and allowing that understanding to guide you forward. One of the reasons clarity often comes at night is because the distractions of the day are no longer competing for your attention. The stillness creates a space where your intuition can rise to the surface. Intuition is a powerful tool, but it's often drowned out by the noise of daily life. In the quiet moments of the night, your intuition has a chance to speak. It might be a feeling, a thought, or a sense of knowing that comes from deep within. Listening to your intuition in these moments can reveal insights that logic alone might not uncover. Clarity also comes from recognizing what is within your control and what is not. When you wake in the night, your mind might race with worries about things you cannot change. But as you reflect, you begin to see the difference between what you can influence and what you must let go of. This distinction is freeing. It allows you to focus your energy on what truly matters rather than wasting it on things beyond your reach. Sometimes clarity means letting go. It might mean releasing a belief, a habit, or a fear that no longer serves you. Letting go isn't easy, but it's essential for making room for new insights, opportunities, and growth. In the quiet hours of the night, you have the chance to consider what you're holding on to and whether it's time to release it. Clarity can also be found in gratitude. When you wake in the night, take a moment to reflect on what you're thankful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's present, from what's wrong to what's right. This shift doesn't just bring clarity about your circumstances, it brings clarity about your values, your priorities, and your perspective. In the search for clarity, patience is crucial. It doesn't always come immediately, and it doesn't always look the way you expect. Sometimes clarity arrives in pieces like a puzzle that comes together over time. Other times it might feel like you're making no progress at all, only to have a breakthrough when you least expect it. Trusting the process, even when it feels slow or uncertain, is part of finding clarity. Clarity also involves honesty. It requires being truthful with yourself about what you want, what you feel, and what you need. This honesty can be challenging, especially if it reveals something you've been avoiding or denying. But it's through this honesty that you find the answers you're seeking. The stillness of the night creates a unique opportunity for clarity because it removes the distractions that often cloud our vision. Without the noise of the day, you can tune into the subtler signals, the feelings, thoughts, and intuitions that guide you toward understanding. These signals are always there, but it's in the quiet moments that you're most able to notice them. Clarity is a process, not a destination. It's not something you achieve once and for all. It's something you continually cultivate. Each time you wake in the night and take the opportunity to reflect, you deepen your connection to yourself and your understanding of your life. This ongoing process of seeking clarity strengthens your ability to navigate challenges, make decisions, and live in alignment with your values. Finding clarity isn't about eliminating uncertainty, it's about learning to see through it. It's about finding light in the fog, direction in the confusion, and peace in the unknown. When you wake in the night, the stillness creates a space where you can pause, breathe, and look inward. This is where clarity begins, not in solving every problem, but in understanding what matters most. Decisions shape the course of your life, and the commitments you make in response to those decisions define who you are. Waking in the middle of the night is not merely an inconvenience or a disruption. It is an opportunity to decide and commit to purposeful action. It is a chance to engage with your thoughts, your intentions, and the direction of your life in a way that is free from the distractions of the day. In those quiet hours, there is clarity to be found, and with that clarity comes the power to choose and commit. When you wake unexpectedly, the first thought might be frustration or confusion. But if you shift your perspective, you'll see that this moment offers you a unique window to reflect. What is on your mind? What keeps you from restful sleep? The thoughts that arise in the stillness of the night often carry weight. They might be unresolved worries, unspoken desires, or decisions you've been avoiding. Instead of brushing them aside, this is your chance to face them head on. Making a decision starts with recognizing that you have a choice. Even in those difficult or constrained circumstances, there is always something you can control: your mindset, your approach, your response. In the quiet of the night, when your mind is free from the noise of daily life, you can focus on these choices with greater clarity. This is the time to ask yourself the big questions: what do I want? What matters most to me? What action can I take to align my life with my values? But a decision without commitment is like a seed without soil. It has potential, but it will never grow into something real. A commitment is what transforms an idea into action, a goal into reality. When you commit, you're not just saying, "I'll try." You're saying, "I will." Commitment requires resolve, a determination to follow through, even when it's difficult, inconvenient, or uncertain. It's about taking ownership of your choices and standing by them. In the stillness of the night, when you make a decision and commit to it, there is a power in that moment. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic changes. It's about small, deliberate steps that move you closer to your goals. These decisions and commitments don't have to be perfect. They don't have to have all the answers. What matters is that they are intentional and rooted in what you truly want. Purposeful action begins with self-awareness. In the quiet hours, you have the space to listen to your inner voice, to understand what drives you, and to identify what might be holding you back. Are there fears that have kept you from moving forward? Are there doubts that have made you hesitate? Recognizing these barriers is the first step toward overcoming them. And once you see them for what they are, you can decide to let them go, to rise above them, and to take action despite them. This process isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Purposeful action doesn't mean doing everything at once or having all the answers. It means taking one step, no matter how small, in the direction of your goals. It means choosing to move forward, even when the path isn't entirely clear. It's in these moments of choice and commitment that you begin to create the life you want, one decision at a time. Commitment also means embracing responsibility. When you decide and commit, you take responsibility for your actions and their outcomes. This responsibility is empowering because it puts you in control. You're no longer waiting for circumstances to change or for someone else to make things happen. You're taking ownership of your life and your choices. In the quiet of the night, you have the chance to connect with your purpose. What drives you? What gives your life meaning? Purpose isn't something you find, it's something you create through your actions and commitments. Each decision you make, each step you take, is a way of building a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Purposeful action also requires courage. It's not always easy to decide and commit, especially when the path ahead is uncertain or challenging. But courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, it means moving forward despite it. In the stillness of the night, when doubts and fears might seem louder than usual, you have the chance to confront them and choose courage over comfort. Every decision you make is an opportunity to learn and grow. Even if the outcome isn't what you hope for, there is value in the experience. Purposeful action isn't about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it as a natural part of the journey. Each step you take, even if it doesn't go as planned, brings you closer to understanding yourself and what you truly want. Commitment also means being consistent. It's not about making one big decision and then forgetting about it. It's about showing up every day and making choices that align with your goals. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum creates change. In the stillness of the night, you have the chance to recommit to the decisions you've made and to remind yourself why they matter. Purposeful action isn't just about achieving goals, it's about living with intention. It's about making choices that reflect who you are and who you want to be. When you decide and commit in the quiet hours, you're not just setting a direction for your life, you're affirming your values, your priorities, and your purpose. There's a profound sense of empowerment that comes from knowing you have the ability to decide and commit. In the stillness of the night, when the world is at rest, you can connect with that power. You can remind yourself that you are capable of making choices that shape your life, that you have the strength to follow through, and that you have the courage to take purposeful action. When you wake in the night, the decisions you make and the commitments you choose are not confined to those moments. They ripple outward, influencing every aspect of your life. They set the tone for your actions, your mindset, and your approach to challenges and opportunities. Each decision and commitment is a step toward becoming the person you want to be. Deciding and committing are not just acts of the mind, they are acts of the heart. They require you to connect with what truly matters to you, to align your choices with your values, and take action that reflects your authentic self. In the quiet of the night, you have the chance to listen to your heart, to understand what it's telling you, and to let it guide your decisions and commitments. Purposeful action also means being present. It's about focusing on what you can do right now, in this moment, to move closer to your goals. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, but the present is yours to shape. In the stillness of the night, you connect with the power of the present moment and use it to fuel your decisions and commitments. In the quiet hours, when you decide and commit to purposeful action, you are creating a foundation for the life you want. You are building a life that reflects your values, your goals, and your aspirations. Each decision you make, each commitment you honor, is a step toward that vision.